I'm a divorced single dad, father of 5 kids. It can be tough raising kids today. Believe me, there are high times and low times. It comes with the territory. But in all my years of parenting, I try to give some good advice. Advice to those parents who are out there willing to listen. My name is Price Van Ray, and welcome to my show. Today we're going to be talking about 7 rules to live by. But first, I want to congratulate all the new parents out there. Boy, are you in for the time of your life. This is an exciting time and a great adventure, so cherish every moment. Now on with the show. That's right, today we're going to be talking about 7 rules to live by. You know, it's always good to have rules to live by. I mean, can you imagine living a life with no rules, no consequences? You just do whatever you want. That would be freedom, but, you know, we do have to have some kind of rules, some kind of guidelines. And when you become a parent, you definitely want to instill some kind of guidance, some kind of rules, characters, and morality into your child. You know, your child is like a flower. Now, imagine this. When I was younger, my mom had flowers all over the house in the front. She had a flower bed, and I'd go with her every spring and watch her plant the seeds in the dirt. Every day she'd water the seeds in the flower bed. And for days and days, I'd watch it, and she'd take care of those little seeds. And soon the seeds would grow, and they'd grow into beautiful flowers. Now, it wasn't an overnight process. Of course not. No, this took time. But you know, those flowers and those seeds are just like your children. You're going to be raising those children, and you want your kids to grow up to be nice and healthy. So, I mean, of course, you got to do the basics. You have to feed your kid healthy stuff. I'm not talking just food, but mental stuff, life experiences. You have to talk to your child. You have to teach them. Because the bottom line is, a child's brain is like a sponge. It's always absorbing stuff. They're always watching and listening. You would be surprised at how much a child listens to their parents and how much an impact the parent can have on their child. So you always want to stay positive. You want to be positive. I'm going to be honest with you. You never, for any circumstances, and I'm sure it will happen, just say something to your child might take offense to. Let's face it, body shaming, that's a big thing. You don't want to tell your child, hey, you're fat. That's not good, because your child's going to remember that. It's going to scar them. You do not want to scar your child. Believe me, because they'll grow up and they'll resent that. They'll always think of it, and they'll probably bring it back up and throw it in your face. And that's something you definitely don't want. So having a child and being a parent, of course, it's a learning experience. And that's why I created this show, because some parents may do something and they think it's okay, but in hindsight, it may not be. You may be actually hurting your child, and we love our children. We don't want our children to be hurt. I mean, come on. We want our children to be happy, always have a smile on their face, always be positive. Nobody wants a child that cries all the time, is unhappy, miserable. No, of course not, you know? Children are a gift, and they're very precious. And we, as parents, want to make sure we're doing good by them. So, like I said today, we are going to be talking about 7 rules to live by. Now, this is very important. I want everybody to know this. Number 1, you have to make peace with your past so it does not affect the present. If something happened in your past, let's say you had a job and they treated you terrible, there's no way to go back in time. I mean, let's face it, you can't recycle time. I always say that. Time cannot be recycled, so you don't want people to waste your time, but you can't let the past affect your present. You can't be bitter. You can't bring that bitterness. And let's say you were in a relationship and things didn't go the way they want. Are you really going to hold that forever? I mean, true, we're only human. Of course, we're going to hurt for a while. We're going to feel the pain. It's going to hurt when it comes to relationships. If you aren't in pain, if you aren't sad because of a relationship, then maybe the relationship wasn't for you. Because when you get into a relationship, you have to have a heart. You have to know how to love. You have to know how to forgive. But of course, we're never going to forget. So you can't let the past stop you. You cannot let it stop you from being whatever you want to be or what you can be in the future. I have seen so many people be burdened with their past, and it's hurt them, and it's scarred them, and they just can't get over something in the past. Let's say in your childhood you were bullied. Well, I always say, unfortunately, it's going to happen. It should not happen, and it's great that nowadays we live in a society where we're looking into that and we're taking it very seriously. But for those of us in the before time, those who are my age, approaching 60, I'm sure some of those scars are still there. But you have to remember, you can't let something like that from your childhood, hopefully, it won't affect you in the future. Now, I'm not saying it will not. Absolutely not. Because sometimes the pain, the scars are too deep. And in that case, we have to talk to somebody, maybe on a professional level. We have to see a doctor or something. Because there are times in the past where it can mentally and physically hurt you. And those times, I guess, it's hard to make peace with your past. Because those demons, those horrible nightmares, is something tough to get over. But I'm talking about things that don't run that deep. You know, I'm sure everybody has some dark moments in their lives and some pains in their past that they can't forget. And it is tough to make peace with that. But if we can try to make peace with the other stuff, maybe the bullying or the insults, then maybe we can move on and it won't affect the present. But you have to explain this to your child, because children need to know this, but you have to explain it in a very nice way. You have to tell them, listen, there are going to be things you will experience probably as you grow up. It may be bullying, it may be verbal abuse, it may be physical abuse, mental abuse, but please try not to let that affect your future, because you'll have a great future. And I'm so sorry. You have to say this, I'm so sorry. If anything horrible happened and you can't get over it, and if you need to talk to somebody, find somebody to talk to. Try to help your child to talk to somebody. And I know that's one of the toughest things, to make peace with your past, whether it's friends or family, because the bottom line is we're all human. We all have different experiences. But one thing we do have is feelings. And we don't forget. So that was number one, make peace, or try to make peace with your past so it doesn't affect your present. And tell your child so it doesn't affect your future. Second, what others think of you is none of your business. Believe me, there are going to be people in life who will not think highly of you, who will cut you down. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, I'm on the East Coast. Now let's say somebody on the West Coast says, that Price, he's an idiot. I don't like what he says. He's a dummy. You know what? That's something they have to deal with. In fact, I don't even hear them at this moment. But if I let somebody stop me from what I want to do because of what they thought, I'd never get anything done. Can you imagine the Wright brothers? You see, the Wilbur and Wright brothers, Wilbur and Orville Wright, they were brothers, and they wanted to build an airplane. They wanted to fly. Everybody said, you're an idiot. Man can't fly. It's never going to happen. If they listened to them, we would not have the airplanes of today. We would not have the jets. We probably wouldn't have the rockets because they inspired people. Can you imagine how you can inspire somebody, how your child can inspire somebody? Remember, what others think of you is none of your business. Everybody has an opinion, and you don't have to agree with it. Don't let somebody stop you. Somebody's always going to think something. They're going to think about how you look, and they're going to comment. They're going to comment on how you act, what you say, what you wear, what you do. Are you going to let them stop you from being you? No, you're not. You shouldn't. Just like you can't stop a tree from growing. If you have strong roots, believe me, you will survive. It doesn't matter what others think of you because it's none of your business. Just like it's none of their business. But everybody's going to have an opinion. Number 3 is time heals almost everything. You have to give it time. So, when I started this show, at the top of the show, I always say I'm a divorced single dad, father of 5 kids. So yes, I went through a divorce. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think anybody gets married to say, I can't wait to get divorced. No, you usually get married and say, this marriage is going to last. It's going to be the best marriage I ever had. But you know what? Sometimes it doesn't work out. But when you get divorced, I'm going to be honest with you. One of you or both of you are going to be hurting. It's going to be painful because you guys shared some great memories, some experiences. You guys shared a life together. And it's going to hurt. And you're going to be in pain. And it took me a long time to get over that pain. I'm not going to say you'll totally get over any kind of pain, but you got to give it time. You definitely have to give it time. When I was younger, my dad showed me how to ride a 2-wheel bicycle. And I can remember it as it was yesterday. I was riding on this green bike, and my dad's pushing me from behind. And I rode it, and I fell off. I skinned my knee. Now, at the time I was bleeding, I was in pain. It hurt so bad. I was a child. So that kind of pain is magnified 1,000 times fold. But I'll tell you now, I look back and I look at my knee and I can barely see the scar. I mean, of course I remember it. However, time heals. Almost everything. And guess what? I got back on that bike and I rode it. I think I rode it around the block. I never stopped riding it. In fact, I love riding a bicycle. It's relaxing. It's soothing. But I'm going to tell you, time heals almost everything. Time can heal pain. Time can heal hurt. Time can heal words. Imagine having words with your family members. Something is said nastily. Something is said hurtful. And then you guys don't talk for a while. Well, hopefully time will heal it. But you know what? Even if it doesn't, as long as you make the effort, as long as you're healed, I guess that's what counts. Because like I said in number 2, what others think of you is none of your business. And you got to make peace with your past, like I said in number 1. So time heals almost everything, and you have to give it time. You definitely have to give it time. Trust me on this one. Number 4, 7 rules for life. Don't compare your life to others and don't judge them. You have no idea what their journey is all about. I've seen people who say, oh my goodness, look at them. They got $1 million house. And why do they have that? They don't do anything. But really, you don't have no idea what their journey is all about. You don't know if they worked for it. You don't know their path. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And the worst thing you can say is that's just not fair. I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody said life was fair. You're not born saying you know what, child? Your life is going to be 100% fair. Don't have any worries. That's right. Life is a struggle. If you see a homeless person, you don't want to compare your life to them. You don't know what they've been through. You have no idea what their journey is all about. Now, right now, last year, I lost my full-time job. So I was out of work for a whole year. For a whole year. I'm back to work. But for that year, I guess some people would say it was the worst experience. But I'm going to be honest with you, it was a great experience for me. It gave me time to relax and renew myself after working almost 25 years in a factory. But everybody's different, I mean, you have no idea what somebody goes through. You just don't. So it's really tough to actually judge somebody. Number 5, it's all right not to know all the answers. They will come to you when you least expect it. Everybody wants to know everything right now. They want everything now. Not later, but now. But it's okay not to know the answers. When I was 10 years old, I didn't know half the answers. When I was 20, 30, I didn't know the answers. Even when I'm 57, I'm still learning. I don't have all the answers. And as a parent, I'm going to be honest with you, you won't have all the answers. Being a parent is a full-time educational learning process. You are always going to be learning something. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Because learning is great. Number 6 on my list is you are in charge of your happiness. Listen, this is true. Don't let anybody get you down. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. Somebody says something, it will hurt your feelings. You are only human. Your feelings will get hurt. There's no doubt about it. But you have to remember, you're in charge of your happiness. You can't let somebody decide what kind of a person or how your emotions are going to be. Of course, you will get angry. You will get sad. That's just human nature. But remember, try to be happy. Because you're in charge of your happiness. Nobody's getting there inside your head. Well, they are getting inside your head as far as saying stuff. But you're in control. You are behind the wheel of that car you call a body. You are driving it in the destination you want to go. Remember, be strong. And tell your child this. Tell your child in life, you're in charge of your happiness. You have to take charge of it. Number 7. This is the last one. Smile. You don't own all the problems in the world. If there's people at war somewhere, you don't own the problems. You could think about it, but all the world's problems are not on your shoulder at this point. Tell your child this. Take every day one step at a time. Your child needs to hear this. Because the bottom line is, we love our children. We want them to be the best person they can be. That's what we want. And we want to give them advice. 7 rules to live by. I mean, there's other rules and there's other things, but 7 rules. 7 rules that can help your child and help you and help others. And now it's story time. An elderly couple had dinner at each other's house, and after eating, the wives left the table and went into the kitchen. The 2 gentlemen were talking, and one said, "Last night we went to a new restaurant, and it was really great. I'd recommend it very highly." The other man asked, "What was the name of the restaurant?" The first man thought, and finally asked, "What's the name of the flower you give to someone you love? You know, the one that's red and has thorns." "Do you mean rose?" Yes, that's the one," replied the man. He then turns towards the kitchen and yells, "Rose, What's the name of the restaurant we went to last night? Now that's a story to think about. I want to thank you for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you and your friends know when a new podcast is posted. Please rate and review this podcast and share it with your family and friends. I hope that you're leaving here with something great that makes you think. Remember this one last bit of advice. Tomorrow is never promised, so don't go to bed angry at your child or anyone you love. And before you go to bed tonight, hug your child and tell them, "I will love you forever, Dad." I'll see you next time here. Be safe, be well, and be happy.